Minerals. To complete the chapter on fumes, evaporations that we dealt with extensively in this documentary, we will also talk about the effects of evaporations inside the soil when they are confined in the bowels of the earth. There, therefore, two categories of bodies are produced, just as in the surface of the earth, since we have the steamy as well as the smoky fumes, wet and dry. This is how mineral rocks and metallic cores are formed. Dry evaporation, having the effect of the element of fire, produces the mineral rocks such as various igneous rocks, red volcanic sulfur, minium, sulfur, and other similar substances. Most of the minerals are colored dust, sand or stone, such as mercury sulfide. The mineral rocks, as they have been formed, have spent all the dry vapors they had in them, and so they now only have the wet vapors in them. That's why they break or crumble and don't bend, don't glow from fire, and aren't penetrated by low frequencies, making them bad current conductors. All metallic cores are a product of steam liquid evaporation. They are cast or malleable such as iron, gold or copper. All these are produced by the wet vaporous vapor enclosed within the ground and within huge stones, where owing to dryness they condense into a single mass and coagulate. As it happens with the creation of dew on the surface of the earth, in the atmosphere, when they separate from the air, so it happens underground, only the metallic minerals are formed before the separation. Therefore, the metallic cores were potentially water, but they are not anymore, nor do they come from a qualitative change of the water. Due to chemical reactions with the condensation of the trapped vapors inside the rock, we have a transformation of the rock into ore before the vapor can liquefy. The metallic cores, after they were created, now contain only the dry vapors that remained, which is why they glow, melt, and are penetrated by the low frequencies, being good current conductors. The earth, as we said, breathes in and out periodically. Also, porous soils and even stones are permeable to air as well as water, as we saw in the underground water cycle and the creation of springs in Book 3. The air has both a moist and dry nature, having dry and wet fumes. The changes that occur due to pressure and temperature inside the earth in a rock cause chemical reactions that change its crystal structure inside it. Due to the different conditions of pressure and temperature, but also due to the different composition of the original rocks, we have a wide variety of metallic and stony minerals. So here it becomes clear how each evaporation affects the crystal structure, transforming either mineral rocks and crystals or metallic minerals. Connections and cycles. So we see what we initially mentioned, namely that minerals, gases, liquids or solids have in them two elements in pairs. They are one element, but another element is also potentially within them, while at the same time they came from a different one. Like, for example, a mineral rock in the past, before it became a mineral, it had all the elements in it as a rock. It was earth, land, and contained both wet, water, and dry, fire, vapors, fumes. As conditions prevailed over dry conditions, burning conditions and very high temperatures at high temperatures were created. This event caused the stone to melt, and once the temperatures dropped, it solidified it again, but this time with a different crystal structure. This new structure no longer has dry fumes inside. Thus we see that mineral rocks are elements of earth, land and water. As the opposite is also true for mineral metals. A rock, before it became a mineral, had dry and wet fumes. As the liquid vapors at some point prevailed, and due to the pressure and temperature conditions we had their saturation. Just before the liquefaction of water vapor in the rock, chemical reactions take place in the presence of oxygen at appropriate temperatures and pressures. These reactions change the crystal structure of the rock, turning it into a metal. The new structure does not include the liquid vapors inside it, since they were spent in these chemical reactions. This is how metals of all kinds are created, which, since they have only dry fumes in them, are elements of earth, land and fire. We see all this recycling, but also the continuity of nature and materials, something that makes the world age but also regenerate. A comet may have once been the cause of an earthquake, rocks on the surface of the earth may have been underground, a wind may have been lightning or caused the formation of mineral rocks. A rain may once have been moisture that created metals underground. Points that were found under the sea and points of the sea that were thrown up and became land. Places that had a tropical climate became frozen, and frozen areas became warm. As any movement in the sublunar field is up and down, it appears that the changes occur in a circular motion. Our world is full of circles, since the circle is a perfect shape. Let's not forget that the etheric field also moves in cycle. Wet and dry fume cycle. Dry vapors of flammable materials originating from the Earth's surface with the right conditions right towards the ionosphere and the superlunar area due to their very low density. There, after reaching an upper limit, they condense, begin to fall and ignite, creating the celestial phenomenon. The air in the atmosphere consists of two types of vapors, the dry and the wet. In the troposphere, wet causes rain and the water cycle, while dry causes the wind. Air and water. The liquid vapors, when they prevail, rain is caused. When dry vapors are trapped in liquid vapors and escape violently due to pressure, they create a glow and a noise we call lightning and thunder. When dry vapors prevail in the atmosphere, wind is produced. When we have a large amount of dry vapors with a flow that has to pass through narrow passages of liquid vapors, we have a cyclonic effects and wind turbulence due to fluid mechanics. The Earth inhales and exhales periodically, causing the fumes either to rise from the soil and subsoil to the atmosphere or to descend from the atmosphere to the soil and subsoil. When the fumes go underground, they gather in pits of the ground and also inside the rocks. Mineral rocks are created because the dry vapors acted there and created chemical reactions in the interior of the rock, making the mineral rock. Metallic minerals are created because liquid vapors acted there and created other chemical reactions, turning the rock into a mineral metal. When the underground mixture of vapors, dry or wet, reaches a state of saturation, then it erupts and we have the creation of a seismic vibration. If the explosion was due to the dry fumes, then we have a huge heat wave and melting of the ground in the places around the explosion. Combustion gases are created which escape upwards first, followed by the molten materials. Everything comes out of a central outlet that is created, or that already existed, something we call a volcano, and a volcanic eruption. If the explosion was due to liquid vapors, we have the creation of water and a violent attempt to escape from the underground. So after such an earthquake, we have a call of water to the surface from some chasm. Elements of sublunar place. The noble gases, due to their low density, are found at the highest points of the ionosphere, being elements of fire and of course air. The reactive non-metals, being heavier with bigger density, are found in the lower layers of the atmosphere, but because of their reaction properties they are elements of fire and air as well. The mineral rocks were created by the action of dry vapors, spending them completely as they were transformed from rock to mineral rock. Thus they are now an element of land and water. Metals. Metals of all kinds came from the action of liquid vapors, consuming them completely as they were transformed from rock into mineral metal. So now they are an element of land and fire.